before we begin work on the face, and it's always nice just to do a little bit of drawing the hair back away from the shoulders. You'd be doing that before you do the neck as well. Drawing your hands onto the head, drawing them along the hair a little bit so you give a little bit of a tug to the hair. And then you'll oil. You want your movements on the face to be smooth and flowing, and it's a very bumpy area by its nature, so you want quite a lot of oil. But equally, applying it is an art, because the face is very sensitive to dabbing movements. The face likes a feeling of completion and fullness. It likes a definite contact. So as you oil, don't just dab on little bits here and there. Big sweeping movements, and let's hope that your receiver isn't too bothered about getting oil on her hair, because that does restrict you quite a lot. You might want to include the ears. And the forehead is always a nice place to begin, because it's one of the places where you can do effleurage. So this is one hand following the other, moulding your hand as much as you can to the surface of the face. And now you can begin to go down onto the temples. So this is all semi-oiling, semi-effleurage, semi-beginning to get the shape of the face. Drawing your hands along the jaw and up the temples. All of these are stroking movements for the face. And doing effleurage of the cheeks just with your thumbs, stroking outwards away from the nose. Not forgetting the midline of the face in these tricky little areas, so stroking from the center to the sides of the upper lip, and then the same thing on the chin. You can also do effleurage with one hand following the other for each side of the face, and you can include, if you mold your hand and in a relaxed way, you can include under the jaw and the temple as well. So now the whole face has been covered, and you can come back to the forehead. And now we can begin to work in a more detailed way. We're going to begin around the eyes, which is often a site of tension. And here's a movement that I invented, I have to confess, but I call it plucking the heavenly harp, because that sounds a bit Chinese. It is like plucking a harp. You start with the little fingers, and they're in the first point of the bladder meridian, so going into the corner of the eye socket. And that gives way to your next finger, and you're beginning to travel out along the edge of the eye socket. So each finger in turn, so it looks like this. And then pinching along the eyebrow, lifting the skin and muscle away from the bone. And as you come down to the end of the eyebrow, you can begin to circle around a little bit, because there are little hollows in the bone that are acupuncture points, triple heater and gallbladder. And then begin to circle around the temples, where there are other acupuncture points. And you can use effleurage to punctuate all of these movements. So plucking the heavenly harp. You can do that quite a few times. Pinching along the eyebrow. Do really get a grip of the muscles here. And you can hold points at the end of the eyebrow before you start circling around the temples. And now the lower edge of the eye socket, something that people feel a little nervous about doing, but you're miles away from the eye, you're at the level of the end of the eyelashes. So pressing into gently, pressing very gently with the weight of a relaxed hand only into the bone at the edge of the lower edge of the eye socket. Stomach 1 is one of the points you'll be covering as you do this. Just using the very tips of your fingers, just the weight of a relaxed hand, being aware that the meridian you're contacting is going to be going all the way down the body. You can curl your fingertips under the cheekbone and you'll be getting the next points on the stomach meridian. And also small intestine. Working down the laughter lines, combination of stomach and large intestine. Combining it with the chin. And stomach goes out towards the jaw as well. So releasing the jaw by circling around these tight little knots of muscle. And also working into places where you feel there's less muscular tension, where the area feels empty. Coming up from the jawline, working under this outer part of the cheekbone here, and then sliding up across the temples to the corner of the forehead at the hairline. This is all stomach. Just a little bit of attention to the nose. I would normally do this with my thumbs crossed, doing each side of the nose, but you can do it, you can see better what I'm doing here. Coming down the sides of the nose. And this, as you might remember, is the end of the large intestine meridian. So another opportunity to go outwards. Under the cheekbone, up towards the jaw. Now we're going to do the forehead and the head. So starting at the inside of the eyebrow, this is the bladder meridian. Remember, the bladder meridian goes all the way down the spine. It goes over the back of the head, so you can carry on in a straight line from the inner corner of the eyebrow. Take it up over the head, sliding and pressing, sliding and pressing. Very relaxed shoulders. Any movement really comes from just leaning your body weight in. And you can do the same thing from the middle of the eyebrow. Going up from the middle of the eyebrow, you'll be doing gallbladder. So with fingertips on the temples, just keep going past the hairline, following that same line. This is a branch of the gallbladder meridian. And you can do those a few times. Bladder. Feel these long meridians going from the face, through the head and neck, all the way down to the feet. I like also to rake my hands through the hair, from hairline to back of head, using my fingertips. This way you cover loads of meridians. And from there, you can work either side of the ear, lots of points in front of the ear, and the triple heater meridian behind it. So using a scissor movement is very nice. With your index finger in front of the ear and your middle finger behind it. Finish off with a little bit of final effleurage to make the face feel whole, complete. Link it in with the chest, the shoulders, and the neck. And you'll very likely find that your receiver is half asleep.